they paid him big time money and then cut him after 1 year and are still eating dead money from his contract. So it's they'll prove they are once they hit week one. But yeah, look, I think there's still defense is still a question mark, and offense is becoming more of a question mark than we've seen under Sean Payton and Drew Brees.
He is Larry Holder. He is from the Times-Picayune in New Orleans and NOLA.com, covering all things Saints. Let's talk about Brees a little bit here and where we are. I've heard some rumors, and obviously the Broncos could use a quarterback at the end of the contract. You mentioned the word grievance, right? And I find it fascinating. Of all the franchises, and look, we had our Ray Rice here. We had Ray Lewis in handcuffs. Jamal Lewis did jail time in the office. We had a player die down in Miami, a member of our secondary this year. We've had issues off the field, on the field. The Patriots have had their issues with murderers and Deflategate and all that. But the Saints have really kind of had an unraveling. And 5 years from now, if the Patriots kind of unravel as Brady ages, and as they probably should unravel, and Belichick gets bored and decides he's going to go to Canton and go sit on a boat like Jimmy Johnson or whatever he's going to do. But with the Saints, Peyton and Brees have had to be a part of all of this, from the league coming down on them and the defensive coaching staff and all the controversy and trying to pick the pieces up. It really feels like part of this is the unraveling of all of that on top of bad drafts.
I would say 2012 really made them hit the roadblock, and I don't think they fully recovered. Because, first of all, you take the head coach away for an entire year. It changes the culture of the locker room. It just does. And there was an interim to an interim head coach. Joe Vitt was suspended 6 games. After he came back, he became the interim coach. And then for 6 games, you had Aaron Cromer, who now he's more infamous than anything else. For some of the things he's done.
Joe Vitt, by the way, a local guy here, a Towson guy. He's a Baltimore guy.
Oh yeah, yeah. He likes to tout his Towson. There's no doubt. But yeah, you had Aaron Cromer be the interim to the interim. And so it was a bizarre year, and because in 2011, that was probably the best Saints team I've ever seen, better than the Super Bowl team. They were at that point the best team in football, I believe, and even Vegas. If they would have beat San Francisco, Vegas had them favored against every team left in the playoffs that year. Going forward, even if they went to the Super Bowl.
Everyone's talked about that disappointment. We had the year when Billick was 13-3 with Steve McNair and felt like we were the best team, and you get your ass beat in the second round at home and you feel bad about yourself, and 10 years later you're still talking about it because those opportunities really are rare. They don't. We've had a lot of disappointments here, from the Cundiff miss and the Evans drop, but you do talk about the championships, and that's the one thing that sticks to Peyton. It's the one thing that sticks to Brees, and I guess this year it'll be the one thing sort of keeping Drew Brees there, because after Archie Manning, you were waiting for Drew Brees to come and build a statue for him, and now that it's a little disheveled, it's very hard to part with him at this point. But maybe on the outside, we've seen the Yankees sort of break things up this year too. There are some questions, and hey, Peyton almost went out the back door 8 months ago, right?
Oh yeah, he was definitely. It was more than flirtation for him, possibly leaving. It was close. But you mentioned Brees, and look, final year of his contract. He's 37. If they, for some reason, somehow made the playoffs and played in mid-January, he turns 38. And look, I'm sure there's a deal. They have a deal they want on their side of the table. The Saints have a deal they have on their side of the table, and they're probably nowhere near each other. And look. They did this with Drew Brees after the 2011 season, when he had one of the best seasons in his NFL career. That was the final year of his contract. So why wouldn't the Saints do it again when he's much older? And the history shows it's extremely rare to have quarterbacks play at an All-Pro or Pro Bowl level this far in their career. And so I think the Saints are probably looking at it that way. And look, I feel at some point, Sean Payton's job is not going anywhere. He got a new contract through all this stuff that we just talked about this offseason. And so at some point, they're going to have to reboot without Drew. And, the fact that there's no contract, I would assume a contract doesn't get done during the season, because Drew Brees has said publicly multiple times that once the regular season hits, contract talks are done. We're not doing them anymore until the season's over. And look, it's the looming question. How long does he have, and who comes in after him? Because there's no clear person right now who would be his successor at quarterback.
Any sign of life on the defense at all, as you see it? I mean, as you said, they can't continue to be this bad, and then they make a first-round draft pick on the line to shore things up, and he's not going to get on the field, much like our wide receiving unit last year with Perryman, and then Smith going down. It doesn't take much, man. There is no deep depth in this league. What's up on the Saints defense? Who's going to emerge of this group? Some of these names are very familiar to us, from Laurinaitis, obviously Donnell Ellerbe, a part of what we did here that was special a couple of years ago. But nothing stands out to me.
Right, and I think that's kind of you see that they've improved in practice, and you've seen in preseason games they have improved. There is improvement, and yet the names you're like, all right, what do these guys have in the tank? Even probably their best player, Cam Jordan. I mean, he's a Pro Bowl guy, but to me, he is not some complete game-changing dominant guy like you see in other places. So. Look, I think that is still a question mark. I mean, that's still the theme. If they're not any better on defense, they're not going anywhere. And you mentioned Laurinaitis, how much he's more of a leader on the field, and you're hoping to get something out of him. Now, I will say this: like you have a guy like him, the communication on the defense has vastly improved. It was really bad under Rob Ryan. As far as even Rob getting plays in off the sideline, the play calls were too long. And so with that, it's you're wondering what they can bring. Their pass rush needs to get better. I think they're going to have to do that in exotic ways outside their front four. I'm curious to see how quickly Sheldon Rankins comes back. It's all a question. There are no givens right now. The only given right now is that you at least think is a given is that Sean Payton will be here for the next few years because of his new contract. Other than that, I don't know what the given is here in New Orleans, other than Bourbon Street still exists, and then I'd like to be sitting get intoxicated.
I'd like to be sitting at the Acme Oyster House right now, eating some fried shrimp. I mean, that's selling my soul right now. That, a little pork burger, a little Go Cup, I'd be all about it. Larry Holder is the Saints NFL columnist at NOLA.com, as well as at the Times-Picayune. All right, last thing for you. Through all of this, there's the Benson family and the ownership and the problems that they've had there, and the stability of the franchise, and how much money the franchise could make there, and certainly after the storm. What is life after Tom Benson? What's that going to look like down there? Because it feels like and look, I don't think it's any secret he would have taken that team to San Antonio, Los Angeles, Mexico City, anywhere 9 or 10 years ago, had the league not intervened, the government not intervened there. But it's there. He'll die a bit of a hero there no matter what. But what happens to the Saints? Because I can't think of a place other than Green Bay, which really isn't a place, where the team, and Baltimore's very, very involved with the Ravens, and the Ravens are a huge part of our community. But down there, it feels like the fleur-de-lis and one and the same. It's almost part of church and state, what the Saints have become there in the last decade. And Peyton and Breeze are part of that. But, moving forward, it is a small market. I'll leave it at that and let you take it from there.
The Saints, they're not going to go anywhere. That's that. I don't think that's even in. That used to be, like as you mentioned, in people's heads. Even before Katrina, that was in people's heads.
Hey, we lost a franchise here, and watching what happened in St. Louis. We're from Baltimore, man. I never take that stuff for granted.
Right, exactly. But I just don't. That's not going to happen. I mean, that's just.
I
not
agree
gonna
with
happen.
that. Yes.
Yeah. But the problem is. You mentioned the Benson. I mean, there is still the family squabble of who is going to take over this team. There was a settlement because Tom Benson changed course about a year ago, a little over a year ago, probably a year and a half now, where he was leaving the team to his wife, Gail Benson, after originally and for years planning on leaving it to his daughter and grandchildren, and the grandchild, Rita Benson LeBlanc, was really being groomed to be the face of the ownership.
Yeah, I mean, Rita kind of ran the place there for a long time, right?
Well,
Or was the face of it? She was involved.
Yeah,
sure.
Ran in quotation. She was the figurehead. She was the face. I don't know how much running. The thing she did most was run off assistance. So that's what she did most. But yeah, and I don't think Tom Benson really trusted her anymore, and so he's turned to Gail Benson, and basically that would mean everyone that works there basically runs the place as what they kind of do now with Tom Benson. He's pushing 90, but it's they're still in a squabble over who's going to get a piece of this puzzle. And they said there was a settlement. And this was on the verge of Tom Benson having to testify in court and basically having to lay out all of the NFL's financials. So I'm sure the league probably pushed him to settle, but this is still in court, and it's still undecided of what exactly that means. And but as far as the team,
everyone's Donald Trump, right? No one wants to show their finances ever, right?
Right.
So
exactly.
Certainly not in this league, right? We would be appalled by how much money and how many tax breaks these 32 people get.
Oh, there's no question. But as far as the livelihood of the team in New Orleans, it's safer than ever, and that's a good thing for this community because, look, if the Saints did not come back after Hurricane Katrina, I'm not sure the city would have come back. Like that's how tied in this community was. Even though they were not good, they perennially bad. They had won one playoff game up until 2006. The Saints, people live and die with the Saints, and I don't think that's not an overstatement. And so, I don't think this team is going anywhere. I'd be stunned, and I'd probably be out of a job if they did. So how about they not go anywhere? But yeah, they're more entrenched than ever, and that is not in the people's heads these days. With luckily for the city of New Orleans,
he is Larry Holder, Saints NFL columnist for NOLA.com. I will bid you adieu with this. We all know this is fake football on Thursday. The only real story this week's the LSU-Wisconsin game up at Lambeau, right?
Well, absolutely, and look, it's even more close. Look, LSU they got diehard in New Orleans. I mean, there's no doubt. I'm an LSU alum. But it's even more tied to New Orleans because Leonard Fournette is a New Orleans native, and everyone's known about this kid since he was about 5. And everyone knows this is going to be a good team.
Hey man, if the Saints stink bad enough, they can draft him, right?
I would be. People would be beating the drum to do it. They'd probably have to get top 5. But
it's a shame Peyton never played there. I'm just saying. I'll say it out loud, and I know he won't say that, but it's a shame Peyton and Eli as well. It's a shame they never played there. That's all.
Well, LSU won let's see. I think they won a national championship while Eli Manning was at Ole Miss. I'd like to say.
I mean it was a shame they never played for the Saints. It's a shame they never went to LSU either. But, I mean, Archie wasn't going to send those boys to LSU.
No way. But, hey, it's the Saints did get one Super Bowl out of a good story with Drew Brees. So that's I think they'll take that. And they've all won. Hey, they've all won rings. Hey.
There's plenty of football for everyone down there, including Tulane. And, by the way, we thank you for Ed Reed and Jacoby Jones for 5 minutes, too. So, hey, Larry, it's great having you on, man. Enjoy the game on Thursday. I've said the same thing to everybody. Go to the Acme, get some fried shrimp for me, and, have a burger at the port next time. Think of me. And we appreciate you coming on, man.
Yep, char-grilled oysters at Acme, too. Don't forget, you better try those next time.
I'm on it. I'll take your advice on that. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Ed.
You got it, bud. Be well.